Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And so I'm watching the show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. I wanted to record an intro because we're going to release some very old test footage of ours that was Riverdale. We covered season 1 and 2 of Riverdale. And because we have had so much fun with that show, for better and worse, and because it's been one of some of our most popular content, I was like, we've got this footage. It's not great. Like, our audio's bad. Yeah. We look different. There is no set. Yeah. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think the conversation is good. Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth releasing.
It's in my old dining room.
So yeah, we're definitely going to release season 2. And that's what this is. This is just a little intro for our Riverdale season 2 content. So you got to have options.
I see.
So please do enjoy. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Will.
And this is So I'm Watching Riverdale. So this is season 2, episode 1, A Kiss Before Dying. What does that mean?
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Cheryl kisses Fred.
He didn't die, though.
No, I know, but it's also, all the titles are referential to, like, old movies and stuff.
Yeah, I know, but nobody died, so.
But it's an old movie.
Yeah, but nope.
Who cares?
Okay, they could have called it Casablanca.
Well,
you'd be like, it's an old movie, Will, duh.
It suits the title, A Kiss Before Dying, suits the vibe of the episode.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if he died.
Okay, well, anyways. So, I'm going to start with the most exciting part, which is nitpicking the seasons and the passage of time. This is a phenomenon you run into with many shows, and especially teen shows. Yeah. However, my recollection is the seasons coming, they actually have a summer. So between 2 and 3, there's a summer.
I thought it was between 3 and 4.
Well, there's one as well.
Okay.
Because we actually witness, some of the summer, even if it's just for one episode.
But this one picks up the moment
after it left off. But Riverdale is no longer frozen. It is raining.
Yeah.
And it's just very... I'm just gonna... It's like it exists in a world where, like, May 24th goes into, like, October 1st.
Sure. Sure. Well, it also, it's similar in that way to, like, the first 2.5 seasons of Dawson's Creek, because they follow a very similar thing, where, like, it was a mid-season show, so the first season, it starts in the fall, but it was airing in the winter, and then it's, like, the next season is, like, the second semester of that year of school.
I don't understand. Would I really be dressing this way in the middle of a Michigan winter?
We don't pay attention to the seasons.
And it's like, if you're new for us, one of my favorite shows, and one of our favorite shows is Teen Wolf, and so there are frequent comparisons, and especially, tonally, I don't feel the need to justify that. But Teen Wolf was the opposite problem, where they were trying to keep them in high school for so long that we went, like, 4 seasons was one school year.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was like each season was a semester or a quarter.
Which makes the amount of raves they had even more egregious.
There's only that many weekends in the quarter. Well, remember once it hits like 5 o'clock, they have 16 hours between 5 o'clock and midnight.
That's true.
So you got to fill that time with something.
When it turns 5 o'clock, it is pitch dark outside, and it is pitch dark outside until like 4 o'clock in the morning when they all meet for breakfast.
For breakfast, right? They go to the diner and then they like practice. They rehearse for the upcoming talent show, I largely remember this one being filler, and there is a fair amount of filler in it, but it also there's more plot in it than I remember. Certainly repositioning all the pawns on the board. We open up hilariously with Archie driving all over Hell and Begone through Riverdale to get Fred to the hospital.
Hitting lots of cars and mailboxes on
He
the
doesn't,
way.
and it is said he doesn't even have a learner's permit, or a driver's license. And so why Pops? I mean, I guess, did Pops have to, like, stay and serve the nobody?
I don't know if Pops had to stay to, like, wait for the cops or whatever, but...
So the 15-year-old boy, he takes control. It's fine. This episode's fine. it's all certainly understandable and explainable, but we go to some places, to some real sort of like put upon masculinity places with Archie that I have a hard time believing he came by. I don't know, Fred is a good guy, but he's a little bit.
Yeah, but there's no instance where you, as your father's 15-year-old son, need to be taking control of the house and sitting vigil with your baseball bat.
Like the Scots are gonna come invade or something.
No,
like
it's not happening.
They're gonna set fire to the roofs.
It's a lot.
He had both doors too. He was like,
yeah, he was sitting like very strategically in a corner so he could watch the front and the back at the same time.
I mean, I imagine he makes it 17 minutes tops. He'd get so bored.
Because I feel like multiple shots of him waking up in that hallway. I feel like Mary or Fred have to tell him to go to sleep at one point.
So, I don't know. He's just really sort of grumbly. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like we deal with this Archie for longer than we need to.
It's like half the season.
And it is this season. Because, as I recall, he does come out of it a decent amount.
Yeah, but not before he starts a vigilante gang.
I mean, So, we never did mention, it's not a huge plot point, but we never did mention he has a very sweet senior dog.
Yes, he's very cute.
Named Vegas.
Is he a senior dog?
You call him a senior dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That we don't think they use enough.
I mean, what are they going to do with Vegas? Just
have
him in
Hey, Vegas. Like, because he has to take Vegas for a walk, which is the first and only walk Vegas has had in the 4-year run. But, and we also get, because at this point, we don't really care about the romantic couplings, because they came out to Betty. Veronica, like, stood as well. She, like...
Well, that was in the finale.
That was the finale of last season. But so they told Betty that they're together, and so there was a shower sex scene, which, fine, whatever. The older I get, the more uncomfortable I get with the teen.
So, to me, it's not so bad, because obviously the adults are in their 20s. Like, the actors are in their 20s. But what's weird to me is that is not the appropriate moment. He's covered in his father's blood still.
And some of Cheryl's.
And some of Cheryl's.
No, she wasn't his own. Yeah. His own.
Covered in his father's blood and some of his own. He's got a janky cast on his arm, and she just is like, I thought you might like some company.
Well, she's trying... Coy. Okay, no, but this actually... Veronica in this whole episode checks for me because she's trying.
It works for her. It doesn't work for him because he, like, smarmily smiles back at her and is like, yeah, I could.
But she has this thing with Betty where she's like, old me would have cut and run.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But it just, basically, I was going to say that, like, we do get sex scenes on this show, but mercifully not a ton.
No, not a ton.
And even when we do, it's usually, like, after.
Yeah, it's usually either, like, leading up into it or the afterglow. There's no in between.
So the bulk of the episode is them just waiting for news about Fred.
Yeah.
They bring Molly Ringwald in for backup, which is a Molly Ringwald special. Bring in the reinforcements. Everybody goes to the hospital, and also the Pussycats were there. We have
the Bulldogs.
Thanks, Reggie. Bulldogs are here for you.
And so are the Pussycats. We're sending your dad our prayers and giving him as many of our 9 lives as he needs.
Thanks, Josie.
We have switched Reggies. We're now dealing with Charles Melton.
Oh, was he already there? I must have missed him.
Because Ross Butler stayed on 13 Reasons Why. There's a series of, like, really, really, like, heavy-handed and not even saccharine, just like...
Well, it's not saccharine because I don't feel anything during them.
They're supposed to mean something, but it's like these flash forwards, I guess, to, like, Archie's life.
Well, Fred is having... It's like he's having to choose whether he wants to stay or go, essentially. But that's not made clear within that.
Well, now that you say that, that's why he says something about, like, I chose to stay so I could protect you.
Yeah.
I was just imagining Archie was doing that.
No.
But no, it's Fred. It's there. It is there.
But it's not explicit enough. For this show, it's not explicit enough.
Like, we needed an angel.
Well, there's weirdly like a Veronica and Archie wedding scene that is like
Where we learn they're Scottish?
Yeah. And so it's like that's the type of thing where it's like, you know, Fred's brother who's dead or whatever, or dad who's dead, someone needed to be there being like, this is your choice. You can stay or you can go, and you won't see these things if you go. But that does not happen.
Yeah, it's just, there's no stakes.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. I mean, Luke Perry's great.
Yeah, it's fine. Cheryl meanders in, just, like, to the hospital.
With what seems like her own gurney.
Like that she wheeled.
Where did that gurney come from?
She made her way in with Penelope Blossom, and at first I was like, well, they kind of retconned this a little bit, because there's a shot at the end of the finale of season 1 of both of them out of the house.
Yeah.
And now Cheryl is like fine. She also changed. No, she didn't change.
Was wearing
She's
a
wearing
and
the white.
it's singed at the bottom.
She touched up her hair though.
Yeah.
And it was like pert in a way that it was not in the previous. And Penelope is like head to toe in like 3rd-degree burns and
Like
smoke inhalation.
bandages
Yeah.
and everything.
And so Cheryl is nonplussed the American way. Or if you want to be a grammar nerd, Cheryl is very plus.
Quite plus.
she barely even recognizes that there's other people.
Cheryl? What's going on? Is that your mom? What happened?
Oh, haven't you heard? There was a terrible fire at Thornhill last night.
She's like, oh, hey, why are you here?
What are you and Betty and Jughead doing
And so
here?
she very calmly explains what happened, that Mummy ran in to save her sleeping and rescued her from Thornhill. But we later find out she ran in to save a horrible painting. I'm going to pretend it's a nightmare, but I think because the nightmare is hanging, the painting, the nightmare is hanging in Thistle House.
Yeah.
But she clarifies that it is a portrait.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so then she threatens the fuck out of Penelope, and
It's actually pretty boss.
it is.
Henceforth, if you breathe, it is because I give you air. If you drink, it is because I poured your cup. And if you move, it is quietly and with my blessing.
And it mostly stays.
It does mostly stay. Penelope gets...
She gets plenty of moves.
But Cheryl is in control of the Blossoms now.
The writers weirdly threatened us at the time that that Cheryl was gonna be worse. Like they were gonna make her...
So I read this headline that was like, season 2 Cheryl will be darker and meaner. And I was like, that's not the direction.
I was like, that's the last thing we want.
We need to go. And so what they end up doing is actually good. I think where she ends up going is great, and I appreciate that.
I think it's the meaner, because, I mean, she goes darker.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's maybe twice more that she's a direct villain to our group.
Yeah.
And from then on out, I mean...
It's just like light antagonism.
Yeah. So, because don't her and Chuck, like, storm down the stairs at one point?
Is Chuck still...
Yeah, it's like an angry mob. Yeah.
Okay.
He still has to date Josie, remember?
Oh, God,
They don't know what to do with Josie, so they just, like, throw boyfriends at her.
Yeah.
So Cheryl's in control now.
Yep.
And honestly, what is there more? I mean, we do establish the Black Hood. How long does Jughead have this motorcycle?
You are going to need to hold tight.
Do we ever see it again?
I feel like we must.
We probably have to, but...
Because how else is he getting around? I think we have to. But he's, like, officially in the Serpents, and Betty has given her blessing for it. So, and FP is still in jail. I don't know why I don't remember why he's still in jail, but he is still in jail.
Oh, yeah, well, Veronica is also running roughshod over the Pembroke because she just popped some Cristal for breakfast that morning. What?
We almost didn't talk about Hiram.
I know. You're putting too much on this. She hates Hiram so much.
I hate him. And the, like, psychosexual shit does start right away.
I've changed. Have you?
Not so much that I still don't want to kiss hello for my daughter.
In the age of icons, so you wanna be immortal.
It really...
in a way that I don't remember it being that way.
Well,
like,
it wasn't quite...
when we watched it the first time.
Like, I need a kiss from my daughter isn't exactly, like, yay.
Yes,
but in hindsight, it is. It is. So we do have Hiram, and it's Mark Consuelos.
I mean, God bless Mark Consuelos.
Yeah, I think, okay.
The gods did bless Mark Consuelos. He is extremely attractive.
I don't hate Hiram the way that you do. I think I hate him in the sense that he is a proper villain on the show, and in my opinion, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we will. We'll get into it.
Trust and faith.
Yeah.
He oversteps his bounds frequently, and not just as a character, like as a plot. Like, they overuse him.
But, like, he and Veronica also have this cat and mouse thing, or, like, a mouse and mouse thing, because they're both so shitty at it that it's just, like...
Well, it's a cyclone of, like...
Yeah.
It's just, like, round and round we go.
Yeah, it's not great.
And this is the beginning of Hermione getting kind of sidelined.
Yeah.
She's still interesting in this point because Veronica kind of, like, threatens her.
Yeah.
And she's like...
Well, she hasn't totally ceded everything to Hiram yet, but she does, and it sucks.
So then we end on a note in Greendale where poor Ben has become Miss Grundy's new project.
Yeah.
Do we call it? Is that in bad taste?
Well...
It's Miss Grundy.
It's Miss Grundy.
This is our, other than like the nod with the like Lolita glasses, this is our confirmation that she is in fact just a serial predator.
Yeah.
And so she
she's
was
teaching Ben piano.
Amongst other things.
He's doing so good.
And the Black Hood shows up and strangles her with the bow Archie got her, supposedly. And she's dead.
A bow, a nice bow, yeah.
She's proper dead, so...
We will come to find out more.
Fred is awake.
Yeah, Fred's fine.
Okay.
And he's back home, and Archie's keeping watch.
Standing vigil.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Bye.